In the age of gods and myths, the kingdom of Nangtud flourished under the benevolent gaze of celestial beings. It was a time when the line between the divine and the mortal blurred, weaving a tapestry rich with tales of love, jealousy, and curses. Among these tales, one stood out, the tragic love story of Princess Bakunawa, Laon, and Mayari, the moon goddess. Princess Bakunawa was known throughout the Visayas for her unmatched beauty and wisdom. Her grace was such that it captured the heart of Laon, a mortal beloved by Mayari. Unbeknownst to Mayari, Laon had fallen deeply in love with the princess, a love so profound that it led him to bestow upon Bakunawa an amulet of immortality that was given to him by the goddess, hoping to protect the princess from any harm that may come her way, especially from celestial beings who might covet her. Jealousy, as it often does among the gods, turned into anger. Mayari, feeling betrayed and scorned, cursed Bakunawa. The curse was not just a simple transformation, but a cruel twist of fate. The amulet, imbued with the power of immortality, reacted to Mayari's curse, amplifying its effects. Bakunawa transformed into a colossal sea serpent, her beauty and humanity stripped away, leaving her with a mouth as vast as a lake and a body as immense as a mountain. This transformation was not just physical, but also a curse of eternal loneliness and rage, a constant reminder of the love and light she once had. The initial devastation was palpable. Bakunawa, in her new monstrous form, roared into the heavens, her voice a tempest of sorrow and anger. The seas churned under her immense body, causing floods and storms that devastated the coastal villages. Her eyes, once filled with the warmth of love, now glowed with unquenchable fury. The people of Nangtud, who once revered her as their princess, now trembled in fear at the mere mention of her name. Laon, witnessing the horrifying transformation of his beloved, was consumed with guilt and despair. He knew that his gift of the amulet, meant as a protective charm, had become the instrument of Bakunawa's curse. The irony was not lost on him. In trying to protect her from Mayari's potential wrath, he had directly caused her eternal suffering. As Bakunawa retreated into the depths, leaving behind a trail of devastation, the kingdom of Nangtud mourned. They mourned not just for the loss of their princess, but for the love that had brought such calamity upon them. In the aftermath of her transformation, Bakunawa found herself lost in a maelstrom of rage and confusion. The once beloved princess of Nangtud, now a fearsome serpent, sought solace in the vast skies, her eyes set on the luminous orbs that dotted the night. Driven by an insatiable hunger that she did not understand, Bakunawa ascended from the depths, her immense body coiling around the heavens as she began her descent into legend as the Moon Swallower. The first moon she consumed cast a shadow over the Visayas, plunging the region into an unnatural twilight. The villagers, already reeling from the transformation of their princess, now faced the terrifying spectacle of their moons disappearing one by one into the gaping maw of the serpent. With each moon she devoured, the night grew darker, and Bakunawa's fury seemed to abate, only to flare up again with an even greater intensity. Laon, heartbroken and desperate, sought to reach out to the monstrous form of his once human lover. He remembered the gentle touch of her hand, the warmth of her smile, and the love they shared. Clinging to the hope that Bakunawa retained some vestige of her former self, Laon ventured into the perilous night, calling out to the serpent in a voice laced with sorrow and longing. "Bakunawa, my love, remember who you are. This is not you," he pleaded, his words carrying on the wind. For a moment, as if the cosmos itself had paused to listen, Bakunawa's ceaseless rampage seemed to falter. Laon's presence, a beacon of their past love, momentarily pierced the veil of her fury. Yet, the curse that bound her was too strong, and the moments of clarity were fleeting. Bakunawa, torn between her lingering humanity and the curse's influence, found herself trapped in a cycle of destruction. Witnessing the escalating threat to the balance of the world, the gods convened, their ethereal forms casting a solemn glow amidst the darkening skies. The last moon, a beacon of hope and stability for the mortal world, was now at risk. Should Bakunawa consume it, the world would be plunged into eternal darkness, a fate not even the gods wished to contemplate. The gods debated their course of action, weighing the preservation of the natural order against the tragic tale of love and jealousy that had led to this moment. It was decided that divine intervention was necessary, but with a measure of compassion. Understanding the depth of Bakunawa and Lan's bond, the gods sought a solution that might not only spare the last moon, but also offer a semblance of peace to the tormented serpent. A decree was made to create a new amulet, one imbued with the power to quell Bakunawa's fury without stripping her of the immortality that tied her to Lan. This amulet would require a sacrifice, a testament to the love that had inadvertently caused this chaos. Lan, determined to save both his love and the world, agreed to the gods' terms, ready to face whatever trials lay ahead to bring Bakunawa back from the brink. Armed with the amulet, Lan embarked on a journey to the depths of the ocean that is now called the West Philippine Sea, where Bakunawa resided, her immense body coiled in the abyss, a prisoner of her own fury. The sea boiled and roared as if to warn off any who dared approach. Yet, Lan, driven by love and a newfound determination, pressed on, calling out to Bakunawa with a voice that carried the weight of his sorrow and hope. As Lan neared, the amulet glowed with a celestial light, its power pulsing in harmony with Bakunawa's tumultuous energy. He spoke words of forgiveness, of love that transcended form and curse, invoking the amulet's power to soothe the great serpent's tormented spirit. The seas calmed as Bakunawa's roars dimmed into whimpers, her colossal form shuddering as the amulet's magic took hold. With a final, pained gaze towards Lan, Bakunawa surrendered to the amulet's embrace, her body descending into the tranquil depths, her rage quelled into a deep, enchanted slumber. The task, however arduous, was not yet complete. Lan, aware of the amulet's potent power and the danger it posed if misused, sought the wisdom of Babalanlinao, a revered seer and guardian of ancient secrets. Together, they embarked on a quest to secure the amulet's safety, away from the hands of those who might seek to awaken Bakunawa for their own ends. Their journey led them to the heart of Mount Nangtud, a place of mystical energy and natural beauty. With rituals and prayers, they concealed the amulet within the mountain's sacred confines, ensuring that only those of pure heart and noble intent could retrieve it. The sea, now a silent guardian of Bakunawa's slumber, was christened Karagatang Bakunawa, a lasting testament to the serpent's legacy and the profound sacrifices made to preserve the balance of the world. Years had woven their passage into the fabric of the Kingdom of Nangtud, a realm that had once trembled under the shadow of Bakunawa but had since found its peace. It was into this era of tranquility that Keo, the great-great-grandson of Lan, stepped into the light, his lineage marked by the legacy of the serpent and the celestial dramas of his forebears. Yet, where Lan had been a figure of love and sacrifice, Keo harbored ambitions that burned with a different flame. Keo's discovery of the amulet, hidden away by his great-great-grandfather and Babalanlinao on Mount Nangtud, was not by chance but by design. He had grown up on tales of Bakunawa and the power that had once set the heavens and the earth into turmoil. With the amulet in his grasp, Keo saw not a tool of balance, but a means to carve his destiny beyond the borders of Nangtud. His ascent to power was swift, as if the amulet lent him not just control over Bakunawa, who remained in her enforced slumber, but also an aura of invincibility. Keo's initial rule was marked by prosperity and expansion, his kingdom growing in wealth and territory. But as the lands under his control widened, so too did his thirst for power, and the benevolent rulers soon gave way to a tyrant king. His decrees became harsh, dissent was crushed with brutality, and the kingdom, which had once flourished, began to wilt under his iron fist. Queen Adla, the great-great-granddaughter of Babalanlinao, watched with a heavy heart as her husband transformed from the promising leader into a despot. She remembered the lessons of her grandmother, tales of balance, harmony, and the grave responsibilities bestowed upon those who wielded great power. Adla knew that the amulet, the source of Keo's authority and confidence, was also his Achilles' heel. Her love for Keo battled with her duty to the kingdom, a conflict that would lead her down a path of desperate measures. In a daring move, Queen Adlaw seized the amulet during a rare moment of vulnerability when Keo, intoxicated by wine and the hubris of his unchecked power, boasted of his invincibility. Adlaw, leveraging her knowledge of the old rites and her lineage's wisdom, sought to use the amulet not to control Bakunawa, but to bind the serpent's power further, ensuring that Keo could no longer exploit the legacy of their ancestors for his tyrannical ends. The act was one of both preservation and rebellion. Queen Adlaw, understanding the magnitude of her actions, prepared for the inevitable confrontation. Keo's rage upon discovering the betrayal was apocalyptic, his wrath mirroring the very tempests once summoned by Bakunawa. Yet, in his fury, he found himself powerless to reverse Adlaw's spellwork, the amulet's magic sealed by her sacrificial intent. In the wake of Adlaw's intervention, King Keo's authority began to wane, his once unchallengeable power now questioned by nobles and commoners alike. The kingdom, which had prospered in times of peace, found itself ensnared in the throes of unrest, its people weary of the king's despotic tendencies. Adlaw, viewing her actions as a necessary sacrifice for the greater good, hoped to steer the kingdom back towards a path of prosperity and justice. Yet, she remained acutely aware of the personal cost her rebellion might exact. The tension within the palace escalated rapidly, reaching a fever pitch as Keo, consumed by a maelstrom of betrayal and paranoia, embarked on a ruthless quest to reclaim the amulet. His descent into madness was marked by a series of draconian edicts aimed at rooting out dissent, his suspicion casting a wide net that ensnared innocent and guilty alike. The kingdom, once united under the banner of growth and expansion, now teetered on the brink of collapse, its fabric frayed by mistrust and fear. Amidst this chaos, the tragic fate of Queen Adlaw unfolded, a narrative that would etch itself into the annals of the kingdom's history with the indelible ink of sorrow and loss. Realizing the extent of her husband's downfall and the irreversible damage inflicted upon the kingdom, Adlaw made the ultimate sacrifice. In a final act of defiance, she chose to end her life, a poignant attempt to awaken Keo from his descent into tyranny and perhaps, in her death, offer the kingdom a chance at redemption. Adlaw's demise sent shockwaves through the Visaya's kingdom, her tragic end serving as a grim reminder of the cost of power and the fragility of peace. The queen's death, rather than quelling the unrest, fueled the flames of rebellion, her martyrdom becoming a rallying cry for those who longed for the return of just rule. In the vacuum of leadership that followed, the kingdom unraveled, its unity fractured by competing claims to the throne and the resurgence of old rivalries. In the modern-day province of ECHOES, under the guise of progress and the bustling pace of contemporary life, ancient secrets whispered through the lineage of Babalanli now, awaiting the moment they would beckon to the future. Among these secrets was the amulet, its legacy intertwined with the fate of not just the Kingdom of Nangtud, but the entire world. Mina, a direct descendant of Li Nao and the esteemed governor of ECHOES, stood at the crossroads of this legacy, her leadership marked by a deep reverence for her ancestry and the wisdom it bestowed. Mina had always felt the weight of her heritage, a constant presence guiding her decisions and shaping her vision for ECHOES. But it was a series of unsettling visions that awakened her to the urgency of the amulet's legacy. She saw a future cast in the shadow of nuclear war, the West Philippine Sea, a turbulent stage for global powers vying for dominance, with the Philippines caught in the crossfire. The vividness of these premonitions left Mina with no doubt. The amulet, long dormant, was summoning her to action. Determined to alter the course of this impending catastrophe, Mina embarked on a quest to retrieve the amulet from its ancient resting place on Mount Nangtud. Her journey was a solitary one, driven by a sense of duty to her ancestors and the world they sought to protect. Upon finding the amulet, she was struck by its unassuming appearance, a stark contrast to the immense power it harbored. Yet, as she held it, a warmth spread through her palms, a silent affirmation of her lineage and the task ahead. Back in ECHOES, Mina's return with the amulet marked the beginning of a delicate dance with destiny. She was aware of the amulet's potential to both protect and destroy, its power a double-edged sword that required careful handling. To ensure its safekeeping, Mina convened a secret meeting with the descendants of Now, sharing her visions and the amulet's role in averting the looming crisis. It was there, in the circle of her kin, that the amulet's mystery deepened. As part of her strategy to identify those who might aid in her mission, Mina allowed each descendant to touch the amulet, observing its reaction. To her astonishment and confusion, the amulet remained inert, its secrets seemingly locked away. However, the true test came unexpectedly when a young man, unknowingly a descendant of Lon, came into contact with the artifact. The amulet glowed with a brilliant light, a reaction so profound that it left no doubt of his lineage and the amulet's recognition of its ancient protector. Jason, a humble civil servant with a heart for public service, was unaware of the role he was about to play in the grand tapestry of his nation's history. His lineage, unknown to him, was the missing piece in the puzzle that Mina had been trying to solve. The amulet's reaction to his touch was not just a sign. It was a call to action, a herald of his true heritage as a descendant of Lon. Mina, recognizing the significance of this moment, faced a crucial decision. Trusting Jason with the truth about the amulet meant revealing secrets that had been guarded for generations. It required faith in the character of a man she barely knew. Yet the fate of their nation, perhaps even the world, hinged on this leap of faith. After careful deliberation, fueled by the amulet's unmistakable signal, Mina chose to bring Jason into the fold. The meeting between Mina and Jason was one charged with an air of solemnity and the weight of unspoken history. Mina, with the amulet as a silent witness, revealed its story and purpose. She spoke of Bakunawa, the celestial dramas that had shaped the Visayas, and the amulet's role in preventing a disaster of unimaginable proportions. As the tale unfolded, Jason listened, a sense of awe and disbelief mingling with the dawning realization of his connection to this ancient legacy. In a world shadowed by the imminent threat of nuclear war, the ancient seas near Taiwan became the unlikely stage for a pivotal moment in human history. Here, amidst the mounting geopolitical tensions, Mina and Jason, armed with the legacy of centuries and the power of the mythical Bakunawa, prepared to enact a plan that could either save humanity or consign it to a catastrophic fate. Their mission was clear yet fraught with peril: to awaken the sea serpent Bakunawa and harness her formidable might to avert the looming crisis. As the night veiled the waters of the West Philippine Sea, the duo commenced the ancient rites to summon Bakunawa from her slumber. The ritual, a blend of bloodline magic and ancestral will, called upon the forces of nature and the spirits of the past. When Jason's blood mingled with the amulet, a beacon of light pierced the darkness, and the sea itself responded with a tumultuous uproar, heralding the awakening of the Leviathan. Rising from the depths, Bakunawa emerged, a titanic force of nature whose presence bent the sky and churned the ocean. With the gravitas of ages in his voice, Jason issued his plea to the serpent, not for vengeance, but for a surgical intervention that would neutralize the machinery of war without harming the innocents caught in its wake. Bakunawa, bound by the ancient pact sealed with her awakening, acquiesced to this plea, setting forth a plan of action that would redefine the course of human events. The serpent, with deliberate precision, began her task. Soldiers stationed across the expanse of the West Philippine Sea found themselves not in the throes of death, but enveloped in a spectral calm as Bakunawa devoured them whole, only to release them unharmed on the shores of Roxas City. Their stories, tales of a moment suspended between life and death at the behest of a mythical entity, would ripple through the annals of history, a testament to the mercy woven into the fabric of their intervention. Simultaneously, the instruments of war, submarines, aircraft carriers, and missiles became targets of Bakunawa's ancient might. She ensnared them in her colossal grip, dragging them into the abyss where they were frozen in eternity, sealed away in an underwater chasm guarded by enchantments old as time. This act of neutralization ensured that the remnants of human conflict would not mar the sanctity of the seas, their potential for destruction nullified by the serpent's wisdom. Jason's additional command to Bakunawa, instructing her to rise whenever the machines of war dared traverse the West Philippine Sea, instilled a lasting guardianship over the waters. This decree, though it stirred Mina's ire for its deviation from their original plan, established a perennial sentinel against the hubris of military might, ensuring that the tranquility of the seas would remain undisturbed by the specter of war. In the aftermath of Bakunawa's intervention, the world stood at a crossroads. The inexplicable disappearance of their armaments forced nations to reconsider the path of conflict, now faced with the undeniable reality of forces beyond their understanding. The Serpent's actions, a blend of mythic power and strategic mercy, unveiled a new paradigm for global diplomacy, one underscored by the respect for nature's primacy and the acknowledgement of humanity's place within a larger cosmic order. As dawn's light reclaimed the sky, Mina and Jason witnessed the return of peace to the West Philippine Sea, a peace safeguarded by the eternal vigilance of Bakunawa. The Serpent, having fulfilled her role, receded into the depths, leaving behind a world forever altered by her awakening. The legacy of this moment, where ancient myth intersected with modern crisis, would echo through generations, a reminder of the enduring power of unity, sacrifice, and the indomitable spirit of guardianship over the earth and its mysteries. With the amulet's purpose served, Jason returned it to Mina, who, in turn, entrusted it back to the heart of Mount Nangtud. In this act of relinquishment, they hoped that the amulet would not be summoned again in their lifetimes, a wish for a future where humanity would navigate its disputes not with weapons of destruction, but with the wisdom to coexist with the natural world and its ancient guardians.